takes ball one. Scott, one of the greatest hitters in program history, who is also having a career year, batting .452, leading the team in doubles. I mean, she is all over the all-time records list. As that one turns foul. All over the all-time list for doubles, triples, RBIs. Mia Scott, one of the best to ever do it in a Longhorns uniform.
Mia Scott came in. A lot of people, including Coach White and his staff, referred to her almost as Janae 2.0. Left-handed, super athletic. Mia had a little bit more speed. And really, while Janae was here, Mia got a little bit overlooked. But even in the last 2 years, Mia just continues to push the envelope and her bar a little bit higher and higher. And as you mentioned, as a senior, having a season for the record books.
For Reese Atwood, by the way. One of the best in the nation.
Not the start that the Bobcats want here, as Texas is taking advantage of small ball. Kate Bubella playing way back, and the speed of Mia Scott is so great that you should know you can't play her back at the bag. But bases loaded, no outs is not what you want the first time you face Reese Atwood in this game for Maddie Azua. Unfortunately, their defense just unable to come up with a couple plays. We didn't talk about it, but even the single off the bat of Caden Henry, Harvey was playing almost on second base, and the ball just went right under her glove.
Count now 2-0. 1-1 to Reese Atwood, the first-team All-American, who's already become the all-time RBI leader in Texas history. She still has another year to go.
Coach Woodard's calling time to go calm down. She does have a young infield. She has a brand new third baseman this year, a brand new shortstop, a brand new second baseman, and Ayanna Coleman is a junior. She mainly DP'd at A&M. She didn't play a whole lot of first base. So this young infield has to take a breath, reset, allow themselves to get some outs and not let Texas push the envelope and get them to hurry.
That'll be scored E6. So Texas with a couple of infield hits, one via the bunt single, and Atwood, meanwhile, reaching after the error and extends that all-time Texas record to 186 career RBI. We'll double check the official scoring on that as well. Texas 29-1 when scoring first.
Swing and miss right there. Alex tells me that Texas's game plan is to attack Azua early. She offered a changeup, and Jolie Mitchell was already sold out on it.
By the way, again, since there was an error on that play, Atwood will stay at 185 RBIs. But regardless, bases loaded, still no outs for another Texas player having a career year at the plate. Jolie Mitchell batting a cool .400. Appeal to third. Mitchell did not go around. Today's umpires, Lyndon Baptiste behind home plate, Kaylee Young at third, and Jenna Bouillon at first. Count 2-1 to Mitchell. Jolie Mitchell drove in the game-winning runs in the 8th inning on Sunday in the series finale against Mizzou. And a couple of runs there, bring it home on a sac fly in the sweep of the Tigers. Chance already to break this thing open. We'll go to a full count.
First full count that we've seen against Azua. Texas being able to attack early so far in this game. Good discipline by Mitchell there, though, on that changeup for ball 3.
She is one of the most patient hitters on the Longhorns, 99 career walks. And not a bad batting average as a team with the bases loaded, hitting .524.
Well, and tied with Reese Atwood. Atwood set this year. Katie Stewart's going to be nipping on her heels. It's over 60 RBIs now. She was at 60 coming into this game, so that's 2 there.
Yes. and the national leader had 63.
So now she's 1 off the lead.
That was Catherine Rodriguez of North Carolina. Meanwhile, I mean, this series as of late, 3 of the last 4 games had been decided by just 2 runs. Texas State upset Texas in 2020. One away, runners on the corners for Leanne Good, as Madison Azua has given up 4 runs off 5 hits. Also an error behind her at short. Good, smashes one, foul.
Alex, you talk about the close games that these 2 programs have had as of recently. And you have to remember that Ricky Woodard's squad was very veteran heavy. Last year they graduated a number. The year before, though, they had returned everyone from the year after COVID. So COVID seniors stayed. She graduated, I think it came out to 12.
Both among the elite programs in the nation as we begin inning number 2 here in Austin. And Mike White told us, listen, this SEC gauntlet they're going through right now, he's like, this is only going to make us better prepared for the postseason. Kat, after today, the Longhorns, 10 straight contests against ranked teams. Texas softball ranked number 1, Texas baseball number 2 in the country. For the Longhorns after this, battles against highly ranked squads in the SEC, Tennessee and LSU, both in the top 10. And shortly after that, they're going to face Oklahoma in one of the top series to watch in the year. But it feels like, I told Mike this earlier this week, every series in the SEC pretty much has seemed like a mini super regional. And he said, absolutely, that's how it feels.
Well, absolutely, that's how it feels, because that's really what it is. You talk about opening up SEC play against number 1 Florida at the time, because they had jumped Texas. Then you get Mississippi State, Missouri, and you're talking about a Tennessee squad that has as well.
Meanwhile, Mac Morgan picks up her 2nd strikeout, getting Ayanna Coleman.
Well, Mac Morgan hammering the inner half. Ayanna Coleman fouled a few off, but that one moved just a little bit farther in and down. Great execution by Mac Morgan to stretch the zone there.
Mac Morgan, not a huge strikeout pitcher. 26 strikeouts all year coming in tonight in 47 innings, but she has fanned already 2 of the first 4 batters. The 0-1 to Sierra Trahan, now 0-2.
Mac Morgan goes a lot with that drop ball and allows her defense to work. So she can go almost an entire game with no strikeouts, but at the same time, only maybe 1 ball leaving the infield period. Has had a tendency to overthrow a little bit, so she'll pump up the speed, but then you don't see it drop as much. Tonight you can see the ball going down in the zone. So finding her groove to match her spin and speed.
Ahead 1-2 to the former Sun Belt Conference Freshman of the Year, Trahan.
Sierra Trahan has been a bright spot in this lineup since she got to San Marcos. However, last year had a knee injury right towards the end of the year before postseason. Her production was so much, it took a little bit out of the sails of Texas State. Still put a good run together at their regional and College Station. Sometimes you just need that one player. Mac Morgan again leveling down in the zone. She's able to make this ball look good.
In the nation, among most wins for active pitchers, she came in tonight 58-9 in her college career, going back to her time at Arizona State. And Kellner able to hold off.
Mac Morgan wanted that one. The senior is ultra competitive when she's in the circle.
That intense stare, payoff pitch. Kellner just stays alive. This Texas State offense averaging right around 5 runs per game.
Had pinch runners, they had people to fill in the infield and the outfield. They don't have that this year. He pointed out they really only have 1 pinch runner in Adea Wallace, and so they have to be very careful on how they're using everybody. But other than that, he does feel like they do have all three aspects clicking really, really well. But again, you're talking about a very mature and experienced team that got to enter the SEC with World Series experience under their belt, with even the junior class, a loss under their belt in the Super Regionals to Tennessee, so they knew that what they were going to be going up against. So the learning process for this squad has been great, and Coach White and staff seeing the benefits of that.
Usually defense at times has been an issue, and Mike White will be the first one to tell you that. But again, this year's defense looks different. They have the best fielding percentage Texas has put together in 7 years. And they've allowed the...
And down, or excuse me, down in the zone and stretching the plate laterally. Senior drop ball be a little bit flat lately, trying to maybe overthrow. But a good start so far tonight. And for Texas, watching the movement and the locations of Mac Morgan is going to give you confidence going into SEC play this weekend against Tennessee.
And Texas trying to decide and really finalize who that number 2 starter will be as the count 1-1 to Carmen Bass. We know what Tegan Cavan has done this year. Just been absolutely lights out. A no-hitter last weekend against Missouri. Tied for the second most wins in the country. But Cavan has also been pitching in every game, whether it's starting or coming out of the pen, in all but one SEC series so far. So they really want to get a good look out of Morgan, and it seems like also Citlali Gutierrez has been more comfortable coming out of the bullpen in her role this year.
Well, Mac Morgan has been giving them good starts, and she can go 1, maybe 2 times through the order, and then you use Citlali Gutierrez, who's an off-speed pitcher.
Mac Morgan 6-1 on the season, really known for inducing a number of groundouts, but tonight it's been the K that's been so effective.
Well, you can just see the down movement on this ball and the way she's able to locate it on the corners. Mike White always says if she's inducing fly balls, she's too high in the zone. And if she's inducing line drives, a lot of times it means she's too much on the plate. But tonight, just 2 ground balls, 1 line drive to start the game, but really keeping that drop ball in command. Extra step. Well, Texas really testing the defense of the Bobcats.
Longhorns have been running this year, but they did end the first inning by being thrown out on both ends of a double steal. Here is Mia Scott. Dropped down a bunt single in the first inning and came around to score. Texas as a team, number 2 in the nation in batting average. They came into tonight hitting .378, just 4 points behind Indiana, who leads the country. Horns boosting that average tonight. They're 6 for 10 so far. There's strike 1 from Azua.
Azua being careful with Mia Scott, knowing what she's capable of doing. You see Megan Kellner, too, also making sure.
Talented underclassman, but obviously a tall task tonight against this offense.
Well, as we said earlier, Coach Ricky Woodard was very adamant that she thought this might be the best offense Texas has had in her time at Texas State. And she's been there over 20 years, so she's seen a lot of Texas lineups. So for Azua right now, you saw probably a little nerves in the first inning. And obviously with Texas jumping on her as quickly as they did, didn't have time to catch her breath. Caught her breath in the second inning, had a great 1-2-3 inning. But has to locate that backdoor curve to righties and lefties, so it's going to be arm side for her. She's not locating that pitch as well as she has in the past, and right now that's what's getting her behind these hitters. First, Reese Atwood. You benefit from your teammates being on base, but you have to get the job done, and she's getting the job done consistently when those two are on ahead of her.
And that may be the end of the road, at least for now, for Madison Azua. Ricky Woodard appears to be making a change after Texas has scored 6 runs off of 7 hits. And it looks like we will have a change. Back in Austin as Jolie Mitchell takes the first offering from Annalisa Solis, the junior out of Cibolo, who replaces the starter Madison Azua.
Annalisa Solis has been a good middle relief for Texas State. Right-handed, but can mix speeds. You see the off-speed pitch there, but she will throw a rise, screw, curve, and that changeup. The key for her is attacking the zone, limiting the free passes to this offense.
Been dealing with some injuries, trying to get healthy. That one misses to Jolie Mitchell, who is hit by a pitch with the bases loaded in inning number 1. Mitchell, 35 career home runs, going back to her time as an all-ACC player with Notre Dame.
Solis's plan coming in is to mix that changeup more often than we saw Azua do. Back to back there against Jolie Mitchell.
Time for the out.
Designated player number 12.
Right now, Bobcat outfield can't win. They're playing deep because you have to respect the power that Texas has, especially with Jolie Mitchell and Katie Stewart. But both athletes just muscling some weak fly balls right in front of these outfielders. They're going all out to try to snag those, but the second you play in, someone's going to beat you over your head. So right now, outfield for Texas State getting worked.
By the time tonight's over, Texas may take over that number 1 spot in the nation in batting average. They're hitting nearly 700 tonight, 9 for 13. Here's Vic Hunter getting the start. She's 0 for 1. Former number 12 recruit in the nation. Does have 6 career homers and 68 at bats. Talented sophomore out of Houston. Texas has only needed 1 extra base hit tonight. The rest have been singles. Keep in mind, Texas so good in this.
Well, Texas continuing to put the ball in play hard, and Vic Hunter just turns that right down the line. But this is another infield play that a young infield just unable to come up with the clutch play when you need it. And that's the big key right now for this young infield, is someone stepping up and saying, get me the ball, let me make the play. Right now, nerves and the inexperience in this type of environment really showing out.
I couldn't tell there whether it caught the glove. Rubella just went right to Peterson regardless. That is now 4 straight hits for the Longhorns. Every batter in this inning has reached so far. Here is Leanne Good, who has taken over as the everyday.
Go home for the force. Jolie Mitchell almost cost Texas a run there. To be honest, Alex, in the first inning, the base running on the first and third, as it went all the way through, Jolie Mitchell got a late break at third as well, costing herself an out at home.
Texas is 3 for 3 with the bases loaded tonight as Texas State talks things over. Again, it is a Bobcats team that had played Texas so close as of late. 6 of the last 10 meetings and been decided by just 2 runs or less. But it is, I don't want to say rebuilding Texas State squad this year, but retooling. Again, they lost nearly 90% of their offense from a year ago, lost their ace, Jessica Mullins. And they have replaced a lot of talented players with talent as well, but young talent. Azua, the sophomore lefty who started, a couple of freshmen offensively in the top of the order, and it's been a bit too much so far tonight for the Bobcats as Bennett fouls one back. They lost names like Randolph and Earls offensively, who'd been a mainstay for them for a number of years, Kat.
Well, you can say rebuilding. Really, the most experienced player is Sierra Trahan out in left field. And after that, it's Megan Kellner, who caught a lot because of her relationship with Jessica Mullins and how good they worked. But when you're talking about Bailey Slack in center, that's a freshman. Keely Williams coming over from Texas A&M, limited playing time in 2 years. Kate Bubella and Ayanna Coleman, same thing defensively, didn't play a whole lot at their respective schools prior to this. And Peterson, a freshman at shortstop. So you have a lot of new faces that don't have a lot of innings of experience in Division I softball. And even though you're 2/3 of the way through season right now, they haven't been in this environment. Their schedule this year, not as tough as some of the schedules Ricky Woodard has put together in the past, but again, she puts together her schedule knowing the team she has, the veteran leadership she has, the experience, and so getting her team into a good place so that come May they're playing good softball.
And forget about tonight. Ricky Woodard's a coach who probably doesn't get enough credit nationally. In 25 years, approaching 870 wins, and adapted with the times when a lot of coaches have struggled to. She's gotten better.
It's a deep, but able to record the first out of the inning for Glenlee.
Yeah, before that, the first 8 batters of the inning had all reached, so Glendy takes over. Third pitcher of the inning for Texas State. High and inside to Henry. I know you don't mind that pitch though, right? I'm sure you threw a few of those in your day.
I never mind the high and inside. Keep a hitter on their toes.
Oh, big smirk on your face. Although, this is somebody you have mentored, Caden Henry. Coached her for a couple of summers, I believe. She told us that she refers to you as Mom. Are you happy with that?
She does. She's referred to me as Mama Cat for a while, and actually both my daughters refer to her as Sissy Caden. Even JC will see her on TV and say Sissy Caden. So, but just a tremendous athlete that, yeah, I got to know right before she committed to Texas, actually. I had no influence in that decision whatsoever because I didn't know her well enough yet. But just a very mature athlete who has her sights set on bigger and grander goals as she continues.
Mike White, bobblehead night here at the ballpark. Thank you, Coach.
Thank you.
Or as we mentioned earlier, the players refer to him as Papa White. That news courtesy of Caden Henry. Said she was telling us over Zoom he's like a grandfatherly figure. Right as she said that, Mike White joined the Zoom. I think he was okay with that reference from her.
He did. He laughed a little bit, but she went on about how great he is, and he said, okay, Katie, what do you want? But no, she just talked about how this year he's kind of taken on that persona, and he did. He laughed as she called him Papa White a couple different times. But, you know, you talk about Coach Ricky Woodard adapting with the times, and every time you get, you know, a new roster, you have to kind of adjust to their personalities, and I think Coach White's starting to adjust with his teams here at Texas, especially Caden Henry said, you asked her if you had to define this team in one word, and her first word was goofy. It wasn't even competitive or intense. Which
defensive changes for Texas. And Shailene Brister taking over at short for Leanne Good. We've seen Texas in the past, years past, in big series appear tight at times. So far this year, they do not look that way at all. Mike White, now in his 7th year in charge at Texas. What a tenure up to this point. He's made it to the Champ Series of the Women's College World Series 2 of the last 3 years. 14 straight Super Regionals. Every year he has been a head coach going back to his time at Oregon.
the Super Regionals is a feat of itself, because when you take over a program, a lot of times the goal is, okay, let's get back to the postseason.
We're at third with one away.
Bailey Slack puts this just down the line, and it bounces right past Jolie Mitchell. You see there, it is fair, hits off of her glove. But that hitting off the glove ricocheted it more towards the wall, and Bailey Slack has speed, so she's able to easily get to third, even with a holdup at second. Ricky Woodard was waving her the entire time, but Bobcats have...
So Slack over at third. First error of the night by the Longhorns. Here's Keely Williams. Dribbler over to first, but that hit foul before that. So Mac still in pretty good shape in one category.
She's continuing to deal, and really for
Saturday afternoon, it'll be number 2 Oklahoma and 22nd ranked Alabama squaring off, 4 p.m. Eastern. ESPN2, the series opener, and the final 2 games Sunday and Monday. Monday night, that's Mic'd Up Monday, 7 p.m. Eastern series finale on the SEC Network. Texas will face number 2 Oklahoma in a few weeks. Some big opponents before that. Here is Ayanna Coleman with 2 away, and Slack still on third.
Ironically enough, Ayanna Coleman and the Bobcats have a history in this park. 2 years ago, Texas State was facing A&M for the right to play Texas in the regional championship, and Ayanna Coleman with A&M at the time actually hit the game-winning hit off the left field wall to knock the Bobcats out of that tournament.
As if there already wasn't enough of a rivalry here between Texas and Texas State, then you add a former Aggie into the mix and things get real tense.
Yeah, Keely Williams and Ayanna Coleman both on the roster at A&M last year as that super regional matchup came.
A full count on the way for Morgan. Haven't been too many of those. 4 strikeouts. They all came to the first 6 batters of the contest.
Yeah, just her second 3-ball count in this game. She's been really efficient around the strike zone, forcing Texas State to have to take some swings at pitches that she stretches it.
White said even before conference play began, he knew that Tegan Kavan would probably be their day 1 and day 3 starter.
Well, and as she said, the game's just fast, and that's what happens when you have athletes with a little less experience, and especially in the infield. We talked about it in the first inning. Texas just played small ball, being able to slap and bunt, and really just kind of showing the vulnerabilities of Texas State's defense with the type of speed that Texas has. But as Ricky Woodard said in her phone call, she's, as long as they're learning and growing, that's the name of the game, and that's what she wants to see here. And it doesn't necessarily have to mean that they put a ton of runs on the board, but as they get farther into season, when the pressure moments are on, are they able to learn from this moment, slow the game down, control the game, and execute?
Ricky Woodard, who's been coaching with her brother Scott, who's an assistant coach for the last 4 years. She said they're kind of a good cop, bad cop duo. I said, which one is the good cop and the bad cop? She said, it depends. She said, during the actual games, she probably turns into the bad cop, but the rest of the time, that's his role.
Well, Scott Woodard, one of the best defensive minds in the game. She'd been trying to get him over on her staff for a while. Alex, you know,
There's a strikeout, by the way, for Presley Glendy getting Mia Scott.
But Scott Woodard obviously demands a lot of perfection, so to speak, from the defense. And honestly, we saw it on display with the reverse double play they showed earlier this game, excuse me. But he wants to see that type of focus and execution all the time, which is probably why in practice he's on them. And then on the flip side, in game day, Coach Woodard can go ahead and put the Babcock hat on. And before you even say it, Alex, I'll just beat you to it. She also said that I probably was the bad cop when I was with her, and she had to be the good cop. So I'll wear that one.
No comment. I am not going there. I know better than that. 2-0 count to Reese Atwood. Atwood coming off that tremendous season a year ago. She was a finalist for National Player of the Year and may not be getting as much publicity this year, but her numbers are not far off.
She's the type of athlete that always wants to be working. Coach White will tell you she's never satisfied, and not in the way that she's upset about her performance, but that she just wants to continue to get better, and obviously knowing that she had the great sophomore year, has continued to work on how she can continue to put up those numbers and not necessarily fall into the trap of when pitchers don't give her pitches to hit, trying to do too much. And obviously with the offense she has around her, she doesn't have to do everything, so the pressure is not on Reese Atwood as much as one would think after that record-breaking year.
We have a pinch hitter, Vanessa Quiroga, senior out of Corpus Christi, hitting .290. She's a streaky hitter, but when she gets hot, she can absolutely tear it up. .290 hitter this year, but .320 for her career. With 7 home runs and less than 100 at bats, she slices one into foul territory. She's gotten a few starts this year, and tonight coming off the bench for Mitchell.
I think Sierra Trahan might have lost.
Network softball matchups. How about these battles? Top 10 contest between number 3 A&M and 6th ranked LSU, 3 p.m. Eastern on Saturday. And And then it's number 10, Arkansas against number 11, South Carolina. A towering foul ball. Meanwhile, off the bat of Katie Stewart. I was going to mention Bree Ellis and her 20 home runs for Arkansas. Katie Stewart kind of having a Bree Ellis type season, at least when you talk about RBIs.
Katie Stewart, second in the country, 62 RBIs now on the year. And just as a sophomore.
Set a freshman record last year for Texas, single season RBIs. Just a phenomenal player. 24 career home runs. The offense as a whole for Mike White, just really doing what they have done all year. Number 2 in the nation in batting average, averaging more than 8 runs per game. Popped up. Bubella called off, and Peterson could not make the play. Just been that kind of a night for the Bobcats.
One tough break for Texas State right there. Presley Glenlee throwing absolutely terrific so far since entering this game. That should be.
Cheat. Here comes Carmen Bass. I was waiting to see if you were going to mention it. If you would mention it, it was okay, but I'm not going to do it.
You know I'm not. Carmen Bass, a junior. An offensive player that has so much power. Coach Woodard just waiting for her to really get a little bit more consistent on the year. Would love to see her backing up Ayanna Coleman, able to protect her so they can use Sierra Trahan and her speed in other ways.
Texas State had 2 batters reach, one after earning a free pass, one reaching on an error in the last inning, but that was it. Morgan with the 1-2 to Carmen.
I mean, they're striking everyone out, but Mac Morgan defense on display here in the 5th inning.
And the Bobcats down to their final out of the night. It'll be up to the transfer from North Carolina, Kate Bubella, to keep things going. So far for Texas State. Again, they averaged about 5 runs per game, but they have been held completely at bay by Morgan. Foul.
Again, if you're Texas, you're excited about the way Mac Morgan has come in and compete tonight. Not just the outcomes, not just what the box score is going to say, but the way she's pitching. Efficient, good locations, seeing the ball move. Has to give the senior and staff confidence as they go into their weekend series with Tennessee.
What a big series that is going to be here in Austin. Another highly ranked battle in the SEC. And to avoid being down by 8 when we hit the bottom half. This one poked foul. Count 0-2 to the freshman. He was 0 for 2 on the night.
You can see the bottom half the second time through the order, and now Peterson seeing Mac Morgan for a 3rd time. You can see them starting to get their barrel out a little bit earlier than they were, and that's what Coach Woodard talked about in her interview. They weren't starting on time. They were too far behind with the speed of Morgan.
Throw back to first. Replay on.
But now you can see the Bobcats starting to get a little bit of timing against the speed of Morgan.
Don't run yourself out of the game. You need 3 runs regardless. Here we go. Again, the 1-2 with 2 away. Peterson just stays alive. Texas, at the very least, looking to rack up another shutout. They have 10 on the season. Foul the other way.
Well, you can tell Peterson's just trying to hang in there. Fouling off both sides. Has to find a way to poke this through the infield. Past the bat, but Texas State going to have to come up with a rally. As you mentioned, 3 runs are going to have to score in order for this game to continue.
Peterson works the count even at 2.
Person would come get that and make a good throw, especially with Peterson. She can run.
Slack, that's going to hurt. Fouls one off of her. Shaking it off. Yeah, Brister replaced Good midway through the game over at short. I love how Slack's teammates laughing at her from the dugout there.
Well, everyone in that dugout has probably done it to themselves, and I'm going to guess that maybe she's done it a few times if they're joking with her. But right now, Texas has to refocus, figure out how to get this third out. That was an easy ground ball for Brister to be able to retire Peterson.
2 runs, 2 more runs, at least for now, will make it a whole new ball game and extend the ball game for Texas State. One and one from Morgan. Mac Morgan on the night, 4 strikeouts, 1 walk, 2 hits allowed. Trying to finish off the evening, and now 1 strike away.